It's been just over 4 months since Christian faithful have been restricted from worshipping inside churches due to the COVID-19 pandemic in Nigeria, and as the doors of most churches reopen, it is clear that things have changed. Though the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 had given the go-ahead for worship centers across the country to be reopened in June, the Lagos state government refused worshippers to congregate due to increasing cases in the state. The state government finally gave the go-ahead for religious gatherings to resume on the 7th of August, starting with mosques, and the 9th of August for churches. But several strict measures must be put in place to ensure the safety of all who will be attending services. Some of these measures include wearing of face masks by worshippers and religious leaders at all times during services. Temperature scans must also be taken before people are allowed into the churches. Churches must make hand washing mandatory for all worshippers before being allowed access. Social distancing rules must be strictly adhered to. There must be no form of direct contact in churches, such as hugging or handshaking. Churches must be disinfected before and after services. At the Holy Cross Cathedral on Lagos Island, it was clear that Sunday Mass wasn't the same, as most, if not all, of these measures were put in place.
We are really complying to the directives of government when it comes to the protocols they set out, because the Archbishop of Lagos himself, His Grace, the Most Reverend Alfred Adewale Martins, has also instructed all parishes to adhere strictly to those protocols. And as you would have noticed, before anyone gains entrance into the cathedral church itself, we'll have to take a temperature check. From there, the person proceeds to the automated hand washing that we've installed here that dispenses soap and water automatically without any touch. After that, they move to an area we've prepared already for data collation in case there is need for contact tracing. So there we take their name, the gender, the phone number, the home address, the nearest bus stop, email address, so that if we need to reach out to anybody who has attended Mass, then we can. So at every Mass, we know who attended Mass and where they are sitting.
Other notable changes during the Mass were no shaking of hands as a sign of sharing the peace of the Lord, as that part was notably skipped. Also, Holy Communion was received by hand rather than traditionally by mouth. When the Mass was over, parishioners were not allowed to gather in groups. They were all led out of the church building and premises in an orderly manner. But while most were pleased with the measures put in place to ensure safety of worshippers, some weren't too happy and wanted things to return to the old ways as soon as possible.
I don't like the system. I don't like the system at all.
At the CMS Cathedral on Lagos Island, the situation was similar. Worshippers were made to follow strict guidelines issued by the government. Even journalists were not spared, as we were also made to wash our hands and fill an attendance register before being allowed into the church.
Over 3 months now, we've started with the fillers we got from government, started making arrangements for a day like today. We have the hand washing unit, we have the fumigation unit. After each service, we prepare that to fumigate the church within 15 minutes. We have sanitizers everywhere, and we kept communicating this to members to assure them that the church, as a responsible institution, is preparing for their return.
Interestingly, not all church leaders and owners decided to reopen their doors for worship on the 9th of August. Notable among some of the churches that remained closed in Lagos include the House on the Rock, where the church's general overseer, Metropolitan Pastor Paul Adefarasi, during the online service said the church will be interrogating all the World Health Organization's prescribed COVID-19 safety protocols to ensure safety of worshippers, and that the church's doors should reopen sometime in September.
The House on the Rock is currently interrogating all the WHO prescribed COVID-19 safety protocols to ensure that the safest and the most reliable protocols are in place before we resume services here at the Rock Cathedral.
Mounting of Fire and Miracles Ministry, MFM, whose leader says there won't be any gathering for service in all their regions, branches and zones in Lagos and Ogun states until the 13th of September 2020, as they would like to put in place preventive measures against the virus and follow safety protocols as stated by the government. As for the popular Daystar Christian Center, The leadership of the church, headed by Pastor Sam Adeyemi, stated on Twitter that online services will continue until they can guarantee a safe enough environment for worshippers. And the General Overseer of the Synagogue Church of All Nations, Pastor T.B. Joshua, hailed authorities for their efforts to prevent the spread of the coronavirus and the announcement that churches can now resume. But even though authorities have spoken, he would rather wait to hear from God. As the rest of the world continues the race towards finding a vaccine for COVID 19, this might just be the new normal for churches and other worship centers. Bernard Akede, News Central, Lagos.